Hi guys, I'm Harsh from Make a Lobster, and today we are going to talk about how to extract the actual camera data from the footage you have captured and how to use that data to add elements on top of your footage. Let's take a look at what we are going to create today. So I have this shaky footage shot from my camera and I've put a text layer on top of it which moves as if it was present in the original footage. So how to create that? Now first some theory. Camera tracking is a process in which the motion of the actual camera from which the footage was shot is dragged from a software. Now in After Effects, this was achieved using third-party plugins because actual camera tracker plugin was not available in CS5 or CS6. Now what they've done is put the actual 3D camera tracker in the software itself, so you don't have to buy any third-party plugins and you can track the camera without jumping in and out from After Effects. So let's start by creating new composition. Actually, I don't want to create a new composition from scratch. What I have is this video in which I have to put that text I have shown you. So I'll create a new composition from this video itself. So the composition will take the properties of the video. So now let's track the camera data from the movie. Track camera. It will take a while. So now that we have finished tracking, you can see After Effects has added these tracker points in the video which move with the camera. So if I add something by right clicking the data point and create null and camera or create solid and camera, I can see a solid there and it moves with the camera. And if I scale this up, I can actually see the 3D motion of the solid. So you get the idea of how powerful this tool is, and you can make some really amazing effects by using this. Now today I'm not going very deep into this. I'm going to tell you real basic how to use it. So let's delete this. Go to a video, select the camera tracker, and now what we want is put our text somewhat around here. So we choose points here and create text. And if you look at this, most part is done. What we have to do is position it, align it a little bit so that it looks cool. I'll change the text. I'll scale it down so that you can see it clearly in one frame. So most of the work is done, but if we zoom it, I want it on the runway. Okay, we'll align this a little bit by rotating it. Okay, now you can go on making these extra elements that you add match the footage by adding some effects. I'm going to add just color correction, tint, and turn this amount down and add some blur. Hmm, actually, directional blur. So I'll change this to 90-degree, turn up the mount. Okay. So I think that matches our footage really well. So as I said, you can go on matching this to your actual footage so that your result looks good. What else we can do is make shadows of this text on the footage. So if we duplicate this and put a fill effect and make it black. Actually, I don't need these 10 directional blur. And what I'll do is rotate it in x-axis, uh, the other side. So you can change it according to what you are trying to achieve. I'll put another blur, Gaussian blur. So I'll smooth out the edges of the shadow. So that looks great. So now that I have some time left in the video, I'll share with you one more application of this 3D camera tracking. What if we want to create some fog in this footage? So I'm going to try that. Make a new layer, adjustment layer. I'll call this fog. And I'll add an effect, particles, CC particle world. What we instantly see is our particle world actually uses the 3D tracker camera. So we if we take a look and if we change the transfer mode to composite with original, we can see instantly that it sticks to the footage nicely. So what I'll do is get into our project. This is my fog element. I'll drag it and drop it on my composition and actually use this layer as a particle for creating fog. Texture disk, and the texture will be my fog, and change the color to white so that it doesn't change. Turn off the gravity, turn off the velocity of the particles, push the producer down closer to the ground, uh, and increase the size of the producer so that it covers all of the ground. Let's put this one. We have to increase the birth rate also to around 5, and we don't want the particles to die during the footage, so we put this 10-second long. And if we take a look in the particle section, we see the opacity map. Now it's set to a constant value. We can add a random thing, so the opacity of the mist is kind of changing. and increase the size to about this, and turn down the opacity to 9%. Increase the size a bit. So now if we take a look, starting from the footage, the particles start to appear, but we don't want this look. We want particles to stay where they're born. So I'll shift this footage, put it from the start, and I'll extend this till the end. And what I'll do is keyframe the birth rate, press U, and press page down for the next keyframe, and I'll turn down the birth rate to 0. So now if we should shift it back one frame, we see the particles won't change from here. And it's kind of close from what we want it to be. If we increase the opacity 10% maybe, 11%, yeah, I think that will do. So guys, we have our fog on the footage. One good thing to do in these compositing type projects is to add some color correction in the end. So let me add some new adjustment layer, and I'll add curves adjustment, bump up those highlights a bit, keep the shadows down, and increase the warmth of the footage maybe a little bit, and increase the highlights of the blue so that that mist kind of gives a look. Increase this a bit. Yes, I think this looks great. Now I can't imagine the limitless number of ways in which you can use this technique to make your footage really beautiful. Now guys, what I'll do is put a link in the description for this footage and this whole project so you can play around, make some crazy things, and share it in the comment section. So thank you guys, I hope you've learned something, and as always, you're awesome.